Hi everyone, and welcome again to another episode of the Pole Project. This is Ayelet as usual, and today I am going to talk to you about 5 things that you really need in your pole bag and 5 things you probably want to have as well. So I will start with the bare essentials. The first thing you really need to have in your pole bag is a water bottle, and remember to fill it, because I know that due to COVID-19 situation, a lot of pole studios don't have water fountain right now. I know mine doesn't have any because the Department of Health is like it could cause infections. I don't know. But whatever, we can't fill our water bottles in the studio, so you need to bring your full water bottle from home. So keep that in mind, and please bring a reusable one because, environment and stuff. Save the earth. Second thing you really need to have is grip aid. I know a lot of people really like grip aid. I know some people think that it is bullshit and it just gets in your way of building strength. I might open up that discussion in the future, but in the meantime, I know grip aid is really, really helpful. Even if you're not a fan, sometimes, some days, it's just the weather or the planet Earth is just spinning in the wrong way and you just need some help nailing those tricks. So having grip aid is really nice, even just as backup. The third essential, and you really need to have one, is a spare pair of pole shorts. I am always like, oh, I will never be the person who forgets to bring pole shorts to class, until I did once, and I was really bummed out, but having a spare pair really saved my ass. And also it can save your girlfriend's asses. So if you're not too disgusted by sharing pole shorts, having a spare one could really save your practice or even your friends. Do remember to wash them once in a while though, because otherwise it might get stinky. Next essential is definitely knee pads. Even if you're not a dancer, I can swear that having a knee pad while stretching is worth way more than any rolled up mattress, because some stretches are just so hardcore on the knees. I'm not even talking about the stretch itself. I'm talking about, for example, when you're working on your front split or anything like that, you really need some cushioning for your knees. So having a knee pad is great even if you're not a dancer, but if you're a dancer, then it's another good reason to have them. Last essential, but not least, is a personal towel. I'm talking about a towel for pole cleaning. I will mention a face towel in the future, but I'm just not the kind of person who sweats all that much, so I don't need a face towel, so I didn't include it in my essentials. But a personal towel to clean your pole with is super important, and especially now because you have to keep your hygiene, and paper towels just don't do the same trick for me. I feel like if you really want to get your pole super duper clean, you need to have a towel, like a proper fabric towel. And yes, that too should probably go to the laundry every few months. So now that I've summed up all the essentials that are really a must-have in your pole bag, I am going to mention a few more things that you probably want in your bag. Those are not a must, but I think that they will really help you. So one thing that you probably really want is leg warmers and /or socks. And I will tell you why, especially during the winter time. I know that me personally, if I didn't have a scarf on me while I left the studio, my neck was just immediately sore because I would go out from the studio being all warm and the muscles in my neck were warm, and then bam, immediately I was just like, my muscles would get all tight and I wouldn't be able to move my head from one side to the other. Something to warm up your neck if you're sensitive, or your legs, or just anything could really help you. Socks are also a very important thing because it could help you with dancing, but also with stretching. I know that when I open up my leg for a split, it is so much easier and I can get them so much further if I have socks on. It just helps me slide all the way into my splits, and I just think it is really nice, especially if you're dancing in heels. Most of the times being in socks, even if you have like an open toe or a sandal heel, can really help you dance, and especially if you have like a boot or something that is covering your entire foot, you really need to have socks in there so your heels won't stink. Another thing that you probably want in your bag, and that I briefly mentioned earlier, is a face towel. If you are a sweaty person, which I am not, so I don't have one, but if you are one, then you definitely need to have a face towel. I mean, like, you don't want to drip all over your mattress and all of that. It's kind of gross, and it could be like really helpful to have something to wipe your face with. I don't think that this is an essential, because even if you are sweaty as hell, you can just go to the bathroom in the pole studio or whatever and just wash your face. That is why it is not an essential for me, but I guess if you are a sweaty person, then it should definitely be an essential for you. Another thing that you really want is a phone charger. If you are like me and you really like recording the lesson, recording your attempts or fails at tricks and all that kind of stuff, and you are the kind of student that has a mini photo shoot at the end of every lesson, then you really need your phone to be working. And from my own personal experience, leaving it on the camera, even if it's not actually shooting, it could really damage your battery. There is nothing that I hate more than being on the road, whether I'm on a bus or in my own car, and not having music or podcasts to listen to on the way back from the studio. So phone charger is definitely a must. Another thing that you really want to have in your pole bag is hair ties, because let me tell you, having to do a whole workout with your hair down is such a bummer, and it is just making things so much harder, and you get so much more sweaty and frustrated. So having hair ties is just a lifesaver, and you really can't have enough spare ones. So keep them in your bag. If not for you, then at least for one of your friends. Someone always needs one. Last but not least, the thing you probably should really have in your pole bag, and I don't believe it didn't make it to essentials, but once again, I am not a sweaty person, so I didn't include that in the musts, but you probably really do want it in your bag, is deodorant. I personally don't use spray deodorant, I use the roller one, but even if you don't use the spray one, you probably should have some in your bag, especially if you're planning to go out after that. I know my previous studio had many bars and restaurants around it, so many times we would go and hang out after the studio if we weren't too tired. So having something that will keep people from like distancing themselves from you because you are so smelly is definitely worth it. Even just, I don't know, like a body mist. It doesn't have to be like expensive perfume, but something that could help you feel and smell like a person and not like the sweaty, smelly mess of a person that you are now. That is all the pole bag essentials that I made for you guys. Do keep in mind that a lot of this is very personal. I really wanted to include pleaser shoes in this list as well, but I know some of you guys are not dancers and don't dance exotic. So I was like, you know what? The dancers will make sure that they keep those things in their bags and each to their own. I wanted to make it as inclusive as possible. And I know that the things that I mentioned are just things that if I forget at home, I'm like really bummed out. I really wanted to make this list because I know many of us are not getting to go to the studio as much as we would want to because of COVID-19 and all the unfortunate events that follow it. So at least when you do get to go to the studio, you will come prepared and you won't have anything standing in your way from having the perfect workout session. So yeah, that is it for today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed. Please keep in mind that those are just the things that I think are essential. Each and every time I didn't have any of these in my pole bag, I was really bummed out. So I thought, why not make like a quick checklist for all of you guys? Thank you guys for listening so far. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please make sure to follow along on Spotify or on Podbean or on Apple Podcasts or on Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts at. So you make sure you don't miss any of our episodes. And you can also follow along on Instagram at the Pole Project Podcast and on Facebook on the Pole Project page. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope to see you again next week. Until then, goodbye and happy pole dancing.